So now we are moving on to the Book of Love, Book 5 of Savitri. We have seen earlier the birth of Savitri, the growth of Savitri into full maidenhood, then Savitri's quest to seek a life's partner, she going from place to place. Her father had received a command from the Supreme, and it is that word of Yogi Ashwapati which became the starting point for Savitri's quest to seek her life's partner to carry out the work for which she had come here, the birth. So it is in that context now we are heading towards the book of love. Savitri is going to meet her future life's partner here. And the opening canto, the destined meeting place, is a brief canto, a brief description, which quickly tells us in just 86 lines or in 22 sentences about the whole place where Savitri is going to meet Satyavan and where they recognize each other's ancient identity. Something has awakened in them and they recognize that they had been together all along through the ages. Though there is a thick human veil around them, still there is something which penetrates out and recognizes who they are. And it is in that sense we could say that when Savitri meets Satyavan, at once they fall in love. It is love at first sight. Now, love at first sight is our common phrase, but this sight is also an ancient sight. This is a sight which they have been carrying with them since the beginning of this creation. So it is love at first sight again in the sense of their being together right from the beginning and now also they recognizing each other. So the identity, the unity is immediate, obviously. And it is that which is what we are going to see in this very beautiful, very sweet book, the Book of Love, which was written in the final form in 1946. By 1946, it was completed by Sri Aurobindo. And I would say perhaps this is the most lyrical book in Savitri. Lyrical, very sweet, very lyrical. And of course, that lyricism has its occult and spiritual power, spiritual content, which is always there in Savitri. But perhaps here there is something extraordinary in that respect. From the point of our poetry, we could also say that this is one of the best illustrations of what Sri Aurobindo called to bring in Savitri the Kalidasian touch as far as possible in English. The English medium is a different medium than the Sanskrit medium. Its associations, its history, its civilization, they are of a different kind. And therefore, he says, as far as possible in English, to bring the Kalidasian touch. But I would say that he was saying that thing with a kind of restraint. He has far exceeded Kalidasa. Kalidasian touch is generally romantic, almost bordering at times to erotic, romantic, Kalidasian touch. But here, the lyricism, the love has a spiritual quality throughout, and you breathe it, you smell it, the fragrance is that, you taste it, you hear its sound, you see the whole thing like that spiritual touch in the lyricism, and that is something exceptional, that all the five senses get drawn into that love affair of theirs, you see, so to say. Now, this destined meeting place, we have right in the beginning two wonderful lines. The very first sentence, 101.1. See, what a lovely thing, we are beginning with a new book of love, and it starts with 101 and goes on now. The new world has to dawn, come out with that, you see. The old 100 is over, you see. Now the new has to start and come, you see. So that is how things fall into places, even in terms of numbers. Numbers, you see. Shemendra didn't count that this is going to be 101 section of his Savitri, you see. It happens like that, you see. Now, before we go to these two lines, let me just give you some brief idea about things which are similar to what we have in this particular canto, the Destined Meeting Place, the first canto of the Book of Love. See, we have here the description of Satyavan and Savitri coming together and meeting for the first time. In other words, this is the place what is called the Shalva Woods, where Satyavan was living, Shalva Woods, and it is therefore a very special kind of a place. And it is there that these two lovers are going to meet. Not only are they going to come together, but here in the Shalva Woods, the most unique event is going to take place. 1 year after their coming together, Satyavan is to die. He has to die. He will die here in this meeting place. So this meeting place is also charged with the connotation of the death of Satyavan. You see. When he says destined, well, that whole destiny is also imbibed, is embedded in this particular place, you see. He's going to die here, and obviously Savitri will bring his soul back to the earth, back with the boon from the transcendent Supreme Himself. She is going to bring the soul of Satyavan back here with a boon from the transcendent of the divine manifestation, of the life divine as the future prospect of this evolutionary earth. So that is what makes Shalva Woods unique, significant, and it is that place what we have here in the opening canto here. Now, we shall of course go quickly through this passage and read the description, but let me just draw your attention. We'll come back and see those references also later on, that we have in different contexts in Savitri kind of a reference to Shalva Woods. Although it is not mentioned that, it is not named that way, but it is pertaining to this place, those descriptions. And some of the descriptions which I got here in my list are, first description is of course 3.20, 3.26. 20, 20, 26. We'll just quickly see this particular section, 7 sentences. Around her were the austere sky-pointing hills and the green, murmurous, broad, deep-thoughted woods. 3.20. Muttered incessantly their muffled spell. A dense, magnificent, colored, self-wrapped life, draped in the leaves, vivid emerald monotone, and set with checkered sunbeam and blithe flower, immured her destiny's secluded scene. Her destiny is secluded scene. This is the place, you see. Her destiny is secluded scene. And then there had she grown to the stature of her spirit in this place. She had grown to the stature of her spirit. It is here, after the marriage, when the prophecy was made about the death of Satyavan, it is here that Savitri did the yoga of the conquest of death. It is here Savitri then grew to the stature of her spirit by doing that yoga, you see. There had she grown to the stature of a spirit, the genius of the titanic silences, steeping a soul in its wide loneliness, had shown to her self's bare reality and mated her with her environment. She had become one with the whole place. Its solitude greeted her human hours with a background of eternal and unique. If foes spare direct necessity, reduce the heavy framework of man's day and his overburdening mass of outward needs. At first, to a first thin strip of simple animal want and a mighty wideness of the primitive earth. This is a description. To a first thin strip of simple animal wants, bird, beast, in that place. And the mighty wideness of the primitive earth, and the brooding multitude of patient tree, and the musing sapphire leisure of the sky, sapphire leisure of the sky, and the solemn weight of the slowly passing months had left in her deep room for thought and God. It is there she is brooding about the future event, about the death of Satya. There was her drama's radiant prologue lived here in the Salva Woods. This is the meeting place where the drama of her life, prologue of the life is going to be made. There was a drama's radiant prologue lived, a spot for the eternal trade on earth. This is the place for the trade of the eternal on earth. Now, this is the spot. You got it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. A spot for the eternal trade on earth. Now, this is the entire description of the destined meeting place. In one line, if you want to summarize, the summary is here. A spot for the eternal's trade on earth. Set the cloistral yearning in the woods and watch for the aspiration of the peak, the mountains aspiring, watch for the aspiration of the peak, appear to an aureate opening in time, as if a window has been cut into time, and it is seen from that, where stillness listening felt the unspoken word, and the hours forgot to pass towards grief and change. So this is the most mystical description of the destined meeting place, or the destined meeting place, you see. Then we have later on 102.2. This is a brief description of a different type. As if a wicket gate to joy were there. This is a gate of joy, small little gate through which you pass for joy, this place. As if a wicket gate to joy were there, ranged in with voiceless hand and magic sign upon the margin of an unknown world, reclined the curve of a sun-held recess, grows with strange flowers like eyes of gazing nymphs. Those flowers, as if they are eyes of the gazing nymphs, peered from the secrecy into open space, boughs whispering to a constancy of light, sheltered a dim and screened felicity. And slowly a supine inconstant breeze ran like a fleeting sigh of happiness over slumberous grasses sprained with green and gold. So this is the place, you see, again, a brief description like that, you see, and it goes on. Hidden in the forest. In fact, the whole description is from 102.2 to 102.6. Then the next is 103.14. 103, 103, 14. Satyavan is describing to Savitri about his place. Close is my father's creepered hermitage. So there is the hut hermitage with dry leaves protecting like a roof and all that. Close is my father's creepered hermitage, screened by the wall ranks of the silent kings. Screened behind these trees, which you say, it is behind that is the hermitage where my father stays. Screened by the tall rank. So you can imagine the whole place full of trees and covering in the forest like that. Sung to by voices of the hue-robed choirs, birds of many hues of colors. It is they who sing the glory of this place all the while, whose chants repeat transcribed in music's notes. So it is those birds, their chant, it is that which comes to our music. You see, what the birds sing, their chant, it is that which gets transcribed into our music. You see. The passionate colored letterings of the boughs. So the boughs are as if having bright, beautiful letters and fill the hours with their melodious cry. Amid the welcome hum of many bees, invade our honeyed kingdom of the wood. There, let me lead thee to an opulent life. So it is there, let me take you to my house and show you the place there. See. So that is how it describes her. And then again, further on in the same canto, 103.28. In fact, the whole description, 102.28 to 29, both the sentences are there. Great nature came to her recovered child. Now he is describing great nature. I reigned in a kingdom of a nobler kind than man can build upon dull matters soil. What human civilization cannot build, it is that which nature has built already here. This whole place is built by nature herself. And it is there, it is opulent, noble kingdom. It is there I live, see. I reign in a kingdom of a nobler kind than man can build upon dull matter soil. I met the frankness of the primal earth. I enjoyed the intimacy of infant God. The early creatures, early living beings, animals, birds, trees, flowers, and all that thing. They are the infants of the gods. I have been intimate with them, with the trees and forests and the whole nature there. In the great tapestried chambers of a state, free in a boundless palace, I had. This is my palace. You may be living in a royal palace in Madura, but this is my palace. This is my greatness. This is my opulence. And I'm inviting you here. And the whole description follows with that. Then again, in the same canto further up, 103.34 onward. High beauty's visitants, my inmates were 34. So he's describing all the people who come and visit there. But I caught for some eternal eye the sudden kingfisher flashing into a darkling pool, a slow swan silvering the shore lake, a shape of magic whiteness sailed through dream, leaves trembling with the passion of the wind, and wandering wings nearing from infinity, they're coming from infinity. Lived on the tablets of my inner sight. It is they who are spreading on my canvas. Lived in the tablets of my inner sight. Mountains and trees stood there like thoughts from God. So these are not material mountains. They are the thoughts of God. They're rising up like that, you see. The whole place is like that, you see. That is how he's describing his place to Savitri. And later on, of course, I give you the number 34, 39. Then again we have another description, 106.26. Now here, this is the book of fate, the opening part of the book of fate, the word of fate. And Narad has come down from his home in paradise. He is sitting with the royal host, Ashwapati, and the queen. And Narad is singing for 1 hour about the mystery and the marvel about to take birth. He is singing for 1 hour about the marvel that is about to take birth here. And as he sings, Savitri walks into the palace after meeting Satyavan in the Shalva woods. And Narad casts his glance on her and then starts asking in amazement, in wonderment, who is this who has come? The bride, beautiful, golden. Who is this who has come? Where from has she come? He kind of asks questions like that. And then he says, earth has gold-hued expanses, shadowy hills, 106.24, shadowy hill, that cow the dreaming phantom heads in night, and guarded in a cloistered joy of woods, screened banks sink down into felicity, seized by the cowed incessant yearning hand, and ripple passion of the upgazing stream, and cool-lipped murmurs of its pure embrace. They lose the souls on beds of trembling reeds. And all these are mysterious presences in which some spirit's immortal bliss is felt. Spirit's immortal bliss is felt in this presence. And they betray the earthborn heart to joy. There hast thou paused, he is stating to Savitri. Yes, I know, I have seen from above. It is there at that place you have stopped. In that Shalva bush, it is there you have stopped for a while. There hast thou paused, and marveling born eyes, unknown, or heard a voice that forced the life to strain its rapture to thy listening soul. Yes, it is there that you have stopped, and you heard some voice there at that place. Yes, I have seen that. Or if my thought could trust this shimmering gaze, it would say, thou hast not drunk from an earthly cup. Yes, you have been drinking joy from a heavenly cup. Thou hast not drunk from an earthly cup. But stepping through azure curtains of the morn, thou wast surrounded on a magic world in brighter countries than man's eyes can bear. Brighter countries than man's eyes can bear. It is there you have gone and paused for a while. That is how he's describing the place, you see. And then we have got again, and goes on further, of course, 136.1 to 136.3. Now, this is a picture where the death had occurred in the Shalva forest under a kingly tree. He died under the kingly trunk, Shalva. His head is in the lap of Savitri. And then death comes and picks up his soul, tucks out the soul, and he's there. Savitri gets out of her physical body, and in her subtle body, her spirit follows death, behind death, who is carrying the spirit of Satyavan with him. And then how Savitri is going through the surroundings, through the nature, that is what we have got in the description. 136.1 and 2 and 3, these three sentences. At first, in a blind stress of woods, the whole woods she is describing, it is through them she is passing. At first, in a blind stress of woods, she moved strange inhuman paces on the soil, journeying as if upon an unseen road. Around her, on the green and imaged earth, the flickering screen of forest ringed her steps. So the screen of forest, she is walking, and that sound is ringing in the forest there, you see. Around her on the green and imaged earth, the flickering screen of forest ringed her steps. Its thick, luxurious obstacle of boughs, she is going in a subtle body. But the boughs, the trees, they are kind of making an obstacle for her passage to go out into the subtle world, you see. This, of course, Yama does not feel. Death does not feel. The spirit of Satyavan does not feel that. Savitri, who is in a subtle body, who has contact with her human physical body, it is she who is feeling the obstacle of the surroundings, as if a kind of a friction is there while she is moving in a subtle body to the place. Around her on the green and imaged the flickering screen of forest ringed her stem. Its thick, luxurious obstacle of boughs, they're coming in the way of her passage. Those boughs besiege her body, pressing dimly through in a rich realm of viscous palpable, and all the murmurous beauty of the leaves, beautiful trees and leaves, all the murmurous beauty of the leaves rippled around her like an emerald robe. But more and more this grew an alien sound as she is moving outward, forward like that. Then this becomes alien. It falls behind the whole place. So this is the brief description of the Shalva forest when Savitri is moving in a subtle body there, you see, spirit. And then we have 158.1, these two sentences. Now the dusk shadowy trees stood close around. See, this is the scene of Satyavan coming back to the earth, Savitri bringing his soul back to the earth, and 158 and the Satyavan and Savitri are now returning to the hermitage, and it is becoming dark in the evening. The whole place is becoming dark in the evening, and they are returning to the hermitage here. So it is that description which we got here in these two sentences. Now the dusk, shadowy trees stood close around because of the darkness of the eve. like dreaming spirits and delaying night. So they are there, still there. They don't want the night to come, but this there. See, the grey-eyed, pensive evening heard their steps. There, Satyavan and Savitri's steps. They are moving, and that evening is hearing their steps walking back to the hermitage. And from all points the cries and movements came of the four-footed wanderers of the night approaching. Four-footed wanderers of the night, birds and bees. Of course, here bees basically. They're walking in the night, see. Then, so this is what they're doing. And then at the same time, what happens? Something mysterious. Then a human rumor rose, long alien to the solitary days, invading the charmed wilderness of lives, once sacred to secluded loneliness, with violent breaking of its virgin stream. Through the screened dusk, it deepened still, and there near, floating of many voices and the sound of many feet, till on the side broken as if a colored wave upon the eye, the brilliant, strenuous, crowded life of man. Now, this sentence, then a human rumor rose, long alien from that point, apart from the first four lines. Now, this is the description of people from the Shalva kingdom coming to the forest, inviting Satyavan's father, Dyumasena, to come back to Shalva and take in his possession the kingdom. He was driven out, but now they are coming back here and inviting him to come back to Shalva and assume the kingship of the place, you see. So it is these people who are coming here, the army, the ministers, all those elderly advisors, they are coming here, inviting him to return to the palace. That you see. So this is the description of that thing towards the epilogue. You see, after the whole story is over, then Dyumasena, of course, his wife, his son, his daughter-in-law, they all go back to the palace and then live there, and then the story ends there, so to say, see here. So this is the description of that Shalva forest, where all these people have come, how it was there in the evening, and how they go back, you see. So this is the destined meeting place. This is the destined meeting. Yes, you have something? This is the destined meeting place where all these things are going to happen, and perhaps have happened already. We don't know. So we'll just read the first two lines and then 101.1. I hope I have collected all the related passages. I hope so. I mean, but in case you find something particular, we can add list also. See now the first sentence. But now the destined spot and hour were close. Unknowing, she had neared her nameless goal. This is a very, very mysterious kind of a sentence. And it is full of connotations, charged. Of course, the canto, the book opens with but now. In other words, it had the connection with what had happened earlier in the previous book, in the previous canto. Savitri was going from place to place, constantly traveling almost for a year in search of her mate. She was not finding anybody anywhere. Is that going to be her fate forever? That she would not find anybody? No. Here is the assurance that, but now she is going to find somebody. Her journey, her quest is over. She is going to succeed in meeting her life's partner here. But now, the destined spot and hour were close. Now, here you have got one very powerful word, destined. We have already seen destined. So, both in time and space, spot and hour, both in time and space, the event is fixed. It is bound to happen. It has to happen. It is going to happen. There is no doubt at all about that. It is destined. Who has destined it, etc., etc., that we will not ask that question now at this point. But it has been destined. But now the destined spot and hour were close. Unknowing she had neared her nameless goal. Now there is the beauty here. Savitri is coming to the meeting place, the destined place. She is coming at the destined hour, early in the morning around 8 o'clock or so on a fated day. She is coming and going to be there, see, early in the morning. But she is not in know of that it is going to be here. The spot is fixed, time is fixed, place is fixed, everything is fixed. But she is not aware of it. She knows not. She has no knowledge that she is going to meet somebody here. She has no knowledge at all about that kind of a thing. Why? Then who has destined it, for whom it has been destined, and why this lady, this girl, would not know it, you see. She has no knowledge of it at all, you see. Basically, destined would convey something which has been decided by somebody else at a higher power, at a higher level, up there or whatever you want to call it, it has to happen. Fixed. In the transcendent, we are seeing the passages. For instance, the very first passage in the second canto, what we are seeing, it has been destined already. Destined by whom? By the divine power himself. The divine Savitri up there in the transcendent. She is going to decide everything about human Savitri here. She has fixed up everything. She has seen the whole thing. She is deciding. So she has decided, destined the whole thing here completely. And it is this human Savitri who has taken the human birth. She does not know that it is she who is going to meet here. She has no knowledge of that. Obviously, Savitri has not done any yoga so far. She has not the knowledge of the spiritual and the occult worlds yet. She is human. It is through the power of love her spirit and her psychic being will awake. When she is going to meet Satyavan, it is in that power of love her psychic being will come forward and see and know everything. Not until then. So that is going to happen later on. But at this particular point, before she meets him, she is coming here without knowing where she is going. What is going to happen here? That veil of ignorance is there around human Savitri. And she has to go through the whole process. In fact, we could also say that when Savitri was traveling from place to place, almost for a year, through different kingdoms and lands and hermitages and all that kind of a thing, she was not knowing anything about herself, what is going to happen. She was just traveling almost like human Savitri. Although she was driven from within, all right, she is not aware of it. There is a guide who is telling her, go like this, go like that. She is prompted, she is going like that without knowing it. There is a presence from above who is taking care of everything there. But Savitri personally is not yet aware of all those things. See, the human veil is still there around her. The first thing which is going to happen after meeting Satyavan, that veil will get removed, will disappear. And then there will be their identity. You see. Therefore, unknowing, she had neared her nameless goal. What for she is here? Goal. What is the goal? She has no knowledge of that thing. In other words, the destiny which has destined the whole thing has a certain fixed goal in her mind. In destiny's mind, there is already a goal fixed that this must happen, this must happen, this must happen. In this sequence, things should follow. Later on, when, of course, as I said just now, when Savitri meets Satyavan, suddenly her psychic being comes out fully and recognizes the whole thing. Also, when Narad makes the pronouncement about the death of Satyavan after 12 months of their marriage, what Narad has really done is he has initiated Savitri into yoga. Narad's statement of the death of Satyavan is not a statement of a fact only. It is a yogic statement which has initiated Savitri on the path of yoga, that's the most important thing. What we would call, Narad has given to her diksha, initiation, the word to follow yoga. And it is that yoga which Savitri does later on in the seventh book, the book of yoga, you see. Once that book of yoga comes around there, when Savitri does yoga, I mean, in fact, there is also, you will notice later on, when we do that book, the book of yoga, Savitri is given instructions how to follow on the yogic path. At every crucial moment, there is a voice. Savitri, go like this, do like this, do like this, do like this, do like this. She is told at every moment of a crucial process of yoga what she should do, how she should proceed. In other words, it is that destiny through all the stages, meeting Satyavan, Narad coming and initiating her, Savitri getting command from the Supreme Savitri, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. It is all towards that nameless goal. Unknowing she had neared her nameless goal. That is the nameless goal she is going to arrive here. I think we'll stop with that. Or you want to continue? We'll stop with that. We'll take up now, because this is a fairly long theme, next sentence, you see. For through a dress of blind and devious chance is laid upon the work of all-wise fate. Our acts interpret an omniscient force that dwells in the compelling stuff of things, and nothing happens in the cosmic play, but at its time and in its foreseen place. Time and place, they're arranged by the all-wise fate. All-wise fate has arranged all those things. And our acts, they are simply mechanically, so to say, following those steps. Our acts interpret what has been already written for us. That we see. Laid upon the work of all wise. Interpret the omniscient force. That omniscient force essentially stands here for the all-wise fate. She is all-wise. She is omniscient. She is the force also. And she is going to do all those things. The destined place, spot, etc., that destiny is governed by this omniscient force. And she is going to lead you. We shall take that thing later on, next time. Thank you very much.